Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Usagi podcast number 4, the most frightening number in the Japanese language, which means death. With me here are 6 fine lovely individual fellows that will talk about a summer wrap-up for the summer 2015 anime. And so I will just read off their names, and I guess they can give you a brief introduction about who they are, and we'll carry on from there. So I would like to first introduce Sonic.
Ni hao. I'm Sonic720 on Crunchyroll.
Aidenraine.
What up? I'm Aidenraine on Crunchyroll.
GoldTStar.
What's up, Gold?
SwaggerCandy.
Hi, SwaggerCandy on Crunchyroll.
BioPower.
I am the 8th Brave.
Alright. And ShawnHacaga.
I am not a zombie anymore.
Hey, congratulations.
Alright, and I will be your host again, AnimeKami. Alright, so a little bit of information about today's podcast. It will be the summer wrap-up, in which we'll talk about a few shows, and just to get our overarching feel about the show and how it ended, what could it done, but what could the show have been done better, what it could have done worse. And the format we'll be using is 2 people will be predominantly talking, and the rest of the podcast will chime in. And the first show we'll be doing is Million Doll, and the 2 people I will call on are Gold and SwaggerCandy. Alright, take it away, Gold.
Of course. Okay, well, my overall impression of Million Doll, since we're just gonna hop right into it, I thought it was a really interesting idol show. What I really liked about it and took away from it was that the 2 groups of idols that we were focused on, the one 3-part group and the one solo group, the solo member, they had like this mental, the 3-part group had this mental sort of bind that they were in, where it was for them to either stay local and have their fans be close to their fans, or go major. And then the solo artist, her company was basically, they didn't have it in their mind for her to go major, because they didn't have the funding. They just really wanted her to stay, a small town for now. But she wanted bigger things, and she was getting influenced by one of the DDs. DD is Daridemo Daisuke, a person who just likes to go, basically he likes everything. One of those rabid fans. And being pushed by him really led her to, try to go major. I just thought overall it was a good show. A lot of people didn't really like it, but I just thought that one concept between the 2 idols that we're focused on was really good.
Okay. SwaggerCandy, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, I thought Million Doll had potential. It's just that since it was a short, there was just not enough time for things to develop. It's like when they ended the episode, I felt like there could have been more to it. It just felt like sometimes they just put it in the middle. It felt like a middle of the episode, like one episode. It just had so much potential, and had a unique concept. And the songs, they were okay, and then it was okay.
I just saw it as a short, so
yeah.
they worked with what they had.
Okay.
For me, they worked with what they had.
So gentlemen, SwaggerCandy mentioned this term potential. Gold, how would you define this potential as? Do you see it as a potential that it was lacking in certain areas, or the potential that it could have been even better?
I mean, I wasn't the one who said potential. I thought it was fine.
I understand that. So I'm asking you, if you were to hear that from your fellow colleague here, potential, how did you react to that word? Do you think
I would acknowledge it and say he's right, because I felt it also did have potential, but for me it was fine how it was, knowing that it was a short and what they made, with the 4 minutes that they had. I understood that they had to like just get the most important piece and put that in for each episode.
Okay.
And just cut out all the minor stuff. But if they did have like, let's say a full 23 minutes, yeah, I felt like it would have potential to be better. Basically.
So do both of you agree that this show would have worked better as an idol show if it was given a full season of 20 to 23 minutes, like Idol Master or Love Life?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. Let's get some other people's opinions on this. Let's call on BioPower. Sir, did you see this show, and how did you like it?
Yeah, I saw it. It was all right. There were some interesting points to it that I enjoyed. You guys kind of covered already how it was all about the two competing idols and their differences and how they wanted to go major, or they were satisfied with what they had already, and they were. But a couple other things that they touched on in there was the big internet publicity pushing, basically, and how they were able to. At least one of the main characters was able to really push the publicity and make. Really, they felt like they were part of the reason behind getting some of these idols to certain fame and renown, basically. And then there was another thing that I thought was interesting. It was one of the other characters. I'm not going to remember names for this for a short day, but it was all about these little known groups and how they became big shots. And one of the characters kind of regrets his decision in helping this other, or watching this other girl basically become a big shot in the idol business, because he used to be really close and there wasn't a lot of people, so he felt special and everything like that. But he got kind of pushed to the side towards the end once this person became more famous. And I mean, I guess I can understand a little bit of that too. There are certain bands that I would say that I like or something like that I appreciate them. I feel like the relationship with them kind of like changes when you're just learning about them and they're not as well known, and then all of a sudden they're one of these big bands and everything like that. I don't know, you lose a little bit of the sort of special touch with that, but you also kind of hold on to that connection at the same time.
Okay. I want to open up this question to all the podcast members and just get a feel for what you guys think about this show. Now, if you were to compare Million Doll to any other idol show, does it seem more realistic in its sense that this is how an idol is supposed to be, going from, just a local famed idol singer on the small stage to the big stages? Let's go with Sean.
Well, I actually have a differing opinion about the show.
Oh,
the show is
okay.
actually not about the idols; it's about the fans.
I see. Let's hear your opinion on this.
Well, I mean, most of the show focuses on a certain particular group of fans who are like supporting like their own idols, like the ones they want to see succeed every week. And then there's these other competing fans that just switch idols every time they become popular and stick with like new and up-and-comers. I just really appreciated that they focused on the fans instead of the idols for this short.
I see. Now, you said that this show, in your opinion, focuses on the fans more. The show is fan-based. It's about the fans and not the idols, which means the idols are secondary to this. And GoldTStar mentioned earlier about the word DD, Daremo Daisuki, which means they love everybody. Now, in terms of looking at the fan base and Daremo Daisuki, how would you, Gold, how would you react to this? Do you think as a fan, reacting to idols and just loving every idol is good, or do you think sticking to one true idol is the best way to go?
Well, for the type of person I am, I would definitely say being loyal to one idol is the best way to go. But it depends on the fan. Yeah, I just feel like it's not too genuine if they're Daridemo Daisuke and they just love all idols, and they just want to. It just seems like if you're more loyal, I don't know.
I see.
I really I prefer that. I definitely prefer that.
Right. Sonic, your take has always been a little bit outside and unorthodox in certain shows. Have you seen Million Doll?
I have not, so I can't really comment on this one.
I see. That's fine. Now, hearing Gold, Swagger, Sean, and Bio talk about this, what has your opinion been on this show in general as a short? Do you think you would have the potential of watching this?
Maybe. I liked what Sean had to say, that it was like from the fan perspective rather than from the idol's perspective. So that might be a reason to check it out.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, do you have any other last words about this show?
Nope.
I'd like to say something.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean.
I think we can all agree that idol fans are in a league of their own.
That's very true. Next thing you'll know, they'll make a game out of this show too.
Oh, gee. Yeah, about the fans themselves.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Million Doll has been our first show, and we'll move on to a little bit of more the romance, the love is in the air kind of mood atmosphere right now, and we will go. We will hit to Jitsu Wa Watashi Wa. I would say it's a love show, right? It's a love show.
It's a rom-com.
It's a rom-com.
It's a rom-com, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so the two leads for this show will be BioPower and Sean. Let's start with Sean.
It's like your typical romantic comedy. I know Gold's gonna hate me, but it kind of gave me these Rosario vampire feels when I first started watching it.
Okay.
because Shirogami reminded me exactly of the lead from Rosario Vampire.
Rokka. All right.
And
in which comparison are you making these, besides just the characters being lookalikes, or
they look vampires?
He was a vampire.
Okay, so it's just the character archetypes.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. What about the show? Did you see anything different in the show, story-wise, or was it all kind of the same for you?
I mean, there were some similar elements, but there was also like a little bit different. The main one being that, they didn't focus on the ecchi. And you can see that, he was really trying to like make a romantic connection with the female MC.
Right.
Although he didn't know how to express his feelings, like most male MCs in these kind of shows.
Now, BioPower, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to interject real fast. Now, AnimeKami, I am the romantic guy. I've always loved romantic animes. Oh, damn it, I said anime. And so, when...
What?
Anyways, when I see a show as Jitsu Wa Watashi Wa, and the MC actually trying to go and get the girl, I can't help but root for him. There have been many, many countless examples of harems, other romance animes, where the male lead somewhat takes a backseat and tries to let the surroundings move for him. He doesn't actively go out and try to get the girl. However, in this anime, Jitsu Wa Kuromine-kun, he does. He goes out and tries to get the vampire. What's her name again? Shirogami. Thank you. And I can't help but root for him. And if he gets a harm in the process, all the more power to him. Now, I'm gonna have to carry it back to Pio and let him kind of finish off here. Any thoughts on this, Pio?
It was a fun show to watch. It's a rom-com. I just generally enjoy those. One thing that I liked was the Shiragami was not immediately interested, so it wasn't one of those, oh, the girl likes him and the guy likes the girl, but neither of them ever say anything, at least in the beginning. And Shiragami actually is gets the misimpression that he's interested in Nagisa, the blue-haired one, and it turns out, and she starts rooting for him and trying to set him up with her, and then Nagisa's kind of doing the same thing with him. So that's the different part. It was funny. The inclusion of the different secrets, I suppose, was a good time, but otherwise it ends the same as most romantic comedies with no resolution.
Gold, so. I know you're trying to get in on this. So Shawn mentions that this anime is the same as Rosario plus Vampire, one of your favorite animes, if not your favorite. What do you have to say to that?
I mean, he didn't say that. He said that
it's comparable. It's comparable.
Well, he said the main girls are similar.
So, do you see any differences or similarities between the two characters?
Hey, they already said it. They're both vampires. That's the only comparison to make. Mocha's nothing like Shiragami. I'm pretty sure anybody with two eyes can point that out. Shiragami is like borderline retarded, and Mocha's one of the smartest characters in the show. I really don't. I don't really know what else I can say.
She's a ditz.
Yeah.
She's a ditz. Yeah, I'll give her that.
I'm biased by telling the truth. Okay, but yeah, I'm trying to think right now to compare. Shinigami. No, Shinigami never sucked his blood. They didn't fight any other monsters. Weird, huh? It's weird. Man, I guess they're not similar.
Okay. Aiden, do you have any thoughts on this?
No. I only watched one episode of this show.
That's really perfectly fine.
It.
In your one episode, what feelings or what emotions did this anime invoke on you?
Personally, I just thought it was really bland, pretty much standard rom-com, pretty much. That's the only thing I took away from what I watched of it.
Even in the one anime, nothing kind of struck out to you that says this might have quote potential.
Not really, no. That's just what I took away from it, but other people could have different reactions.
I see. All right, let's see. Bio and Shawn, what do you think about that? Do you agree or disagree with what Aiden has said, that this show did not have much of a potential on episode 1?
I agree, probably. It's a pretty standard rom-com.
Okay.
I mean, if you watched a lot of anime, it might seem like it pretty much turned out the same like other ones you've seen.
All right. Sonic and Gold, would you consider this as a standard rom-com?
I would, but that's its charm. The fact that it is standard. It doesn't try to do. It really reminded me of an older harem show. I'm talking about older, 10 year plus actually.
You mean like 2005?
I could actually imagine myself watching this in 2000. I don't know, 2002, 2003. It's just so plain, and I really feel that was its charm.
So plain and uniqueness is its charm. Nothing fancy, no plot sticking out at you.
Well, yeah, it's pretty standard. Edomine, he likes this vampire. Well, he didn't know he was a vampire. He likes this girl in his class. He was really interested in her. He wanted to go confess. Learns that she's a vampire. He has to keep her secret. Throughout the show, he meets other girls who all have secrets. And he has a childhood friend. He doesn't know her secret, but she has one. It's just really standard. I enjoyed that about it.
Right.
It's a fun show. It was a fun show.
Okay, Sonic, is this a fun show for you, or was this a fun show for you?
I got about halfway through.
Okay.
I got a little bored in the middle, but I'm enjoying it for the most part.
What aspects are you enjoying it? Like, let's go for the example. Is it unique because it's so simple and bland, or anything else that struck you?
You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Ranma 1/2.
Ah, okay.
And just in the way it delivers the comedy and how the characters have multiple sides to them. They feed off of each other's energy, and the comedy just goes with each character's little dilemma that episode, similar to Ranma.
All right. So, gentlemen, do you have any final thoughts on this show?
Not really. It's a good show.
Really good show?
It's a nice harem rom-com.
Nice harem rom-com. Anyone else?
Well, yeah, can't even say harem rom-com.
It was fun. I like the music.
Actually, the OP
music was really nice.
Opening and ending were.
Yes,
they
wait,
were.
okay, I just want to say one thing, actually.
Yes,
the ending for the entire season. Like, I listened to the ending. I love the ending. I'll just point that out. But for some reason, the background, well, it just sounded so familiar. The background to the ending sounded so familiar, and I just finally knew, and I figured out where I got that from. If you listen to the ending and then put that side by side to a song called "Song Cry," instrumental by Jay-Z, they sound exactly the same. I was like, wow, that's where I got it from, and I just finally found out yesterday.
Interesting. All right, we're gonna move on to one of the most.
If I may interject real quick.
You can interject. Thank you for interjecting.
One thing I thought I'd bring up is the style of the manga to the anime.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of manga readers that really love like the facial expressions and just the way that the characters emote in the manga. I don't think the anime really captures that kind of comedy from those stills of the faces quite the same.
If you could put a number towards it, how much of a justice is it doing to it?
I think they got about half, maybe.
Half?
I mean, I'd agree and disagree to that, because they do in the anime show really funny facial expressions, like they do in the manga. But they don't go overboard, like how crazy and the stillness of it, because obviously it's a manga and you're translating it to the anime. But I prefer them not to have that, because that almost swayed me from actually even watching the anime, and I'm glad it didn't, because I would have missed out on something that was really fun.
Well,
I think it just has a different kind of impact and different kind of experience between the two formats there.
Okay, third time's the charm. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to one of the more treacherous shows of the season.
Oh.
Rokka.
Oh boy.
Rokka.
Okay. The 7th and the 8th brave. Whatever that means. Alright, and for this show, the two leads will be Aiden and Sonic. Okay, take it away, Aiden.
Alright, so Rokka. I know, I don't actually know, like, the number of people that actually would have watched this show, as it's a mixture of, like, both fantasy and mystery, which is kind of a weird combination. But I did enjoy the show, up until probably the ending. It was a fairly interesting, a quote-unquote locked room scenario inside a barrier.
Right.
And the mystery comes in the fact where there's only supposed to be 6 braves chosen by this goddess, or was it a goddess or something?
I think it was a goddess.
That.
It was a goddess.
Yeah, but she chooses 6 warriors, the 6 strongest humans, to go and defeat this evil demon god. And they travel the world, and they get to this place where they're all supposed to meet, and they gather together, and there winds up being 7 braves instead of 6. After they gather together, they pretty much, what happens is that a barrier is erected, and this locks all of them inside a certain area around the temple where they gathered together. And
now, Aiden, let me interrupt you for a minute.
Yes?
So you're giving us a synopsis, which is super, but what are your thoughts on the fact that this is a fantasy or a mystery?
The fact that it's both a fantasy and mystery... personally, I love fantasies. I also do find mysteries to be intriguing.
Okay.
So, personally, it's something that I did like. The fantasy, like the world, it had a really great world setting, and like the battle between the humans and fiends. Yeah, I enjoyed the action, the intrigue, the mysteries. Pretty much everything, like I said, up until about the ending. It had a very troll ending.
Troll ending. So, Sonic, I believe you haven't finished the series?
I have finished it.
Oh, you have finished.
I saved this one to marathon at the end of the season. I watched it all in a couple of days. I was definitely glued to the mystery aspect of the story.
Okay.
The characters were kind of hit or miss for me. Some of them I thought were pretty well done, and other ones I thought were just like...
Can you give a specific example? Maybe the two... Let's... I'm going to turn this into Waifu Wars in a bit. All right, I'll just turn it into Waifu Wars now. So, between Nashatania and Fremi, which two characters do you think is more fleshed out, or do you think they're both equally fleshed out?
I definitely think Fremi had the better character development.
Right.
And writing behind the character, because you really get to find out what motivates her, her past, what she's feeling in the present. Whereas Nashtanya, you're really not getting that insight. And some of it's for plot reasons, but I also felt like when she goes crazy in that one episode, it was kind of unwarranted.
I see. How crazy would you think?
Okay, so she was on the side of Adlet. And she's just kind of standing in the jungle woods there for days, seemed like at least. And all of a sudden, the call from Mora makes her think that Adlet has betrayed them, even though she'd been on his side that entire time.
Right.
So I was just like, why? I mean, you've trusted this guy up to this point through all of these accusations against him. So why now are you just breaking down, going crazy, thinking that he's the culprit?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it does tie into the plot, but at the same time, I felt like that didn't seem genuine to the character.
We're using genuine a lot. Let me stop you right there for a second, Sonic. I'm going to end you real fast for that question. Why did she turn crazy at that very moment? And I'm going to open up the floor to every single podcaster here and ask them that exact question. Let's start with alphabetical order, which would be...
Aiden.
No, Aiden's too genuine for this. We'll start with you, BioPower.
Well, first of all, since this is a summer wrap-up, we're going to talk about spoilers for this show.
Yes, real fast. Ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert. Turn this off now.
Yeah, so she goes insane because it seems like she's pretty unstable just in general from the beginning. She plays a pretty good act in the first episode, but when we find out that she is in fact the seventh brave and that she's willing to sacrifice 500,000 people for everything, we know that she's a little bit nuts. So
All right. I believe next in line is Gold. Do you have anything to add to that? Same question.
Well, she went crazy.
Yeah, why did she go crazy? And in the aspect, do you think her going crazy might have revealed that she was the seventh brave?
I mean, I figured she was always crazy deep down. That's just her personality. It's I feel like she's just really motivated to complete her goal, her insane goal, which is crazy, first of all. So it kind of ties into each other. Her having a crazy goal, her being crazy. But yeah, you know, I don't know. That's just how she is.
That's how she is. Now, I'll carry my my evaluation at the end and save it for that. Let's move on to Sean. Sean, crazy or batshit crazy? Oh, excuse my French. I apologize. I think we're having some technical difficulties with Sean's mic. SwaggerCandy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, crazy. Nasachane.
Yeah, she's crazy. I mean, I think the reason she went crazy is because because her plan failed in the end, so she had like no point. And like as Gold said, she was probably crazy in the first place. So yeah.
She was acting that way even before her plan was.
Yeah.
Like, even when she was thinking her plan was gonna succeed, she was still acting that way. You know?
Wait.
I mean, yeah.
In what reference? Like what episode reference were you saying she's crazy in a sense? Like from the moment she
when she started swinging that sword inside the temple, that's when I said.
Whoa! That's a wand, bro. That's a wand.
That is That is very long ago. I think episode 4 or 5.
No, I said that's a wand.
Yeah.
Anyways,
wand.
Wand.
We won't get into the small details, but
yeah, but I thought it was like when I guess she started going yandere, I guess you would say, like when she was a Goldolf.
No,
and I don't know. That's when I picked up on it.
Not yandere.
I'm pretty slow.
I think she was just
psycho. She's not yandere. She's psycho.
All right, let's let's go full circle and back to the A's. Aiden, crazy.
Crazy or just a bitch? I don't know.
Well,
yeah,
you did not like her.
No, I always I was pretty much on the side of her being the seventh the whole time.
Likewise.
Really?
Her Morta was really.
I just guessed.
Yeah,
I didn't win the contest.
I think at that point, well, you know that she's not all there mentally, like Gold said.
Yeah, exactly.
That was just her breaking point because, yeah, she figured this is the person who I've sided with the whole time, trying to get everyone to believe that they're the seventh. I'm trying to frame him, and he goes and messes everything up. So she just snaps and tries to kill him herself, trying to fulfill her plan. She never was all there. She just lost it at that point.
All right, let's give this one more try, and hopefully someone's not a ghost again. Sean, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so Nasutania is crazy. I believe everyone in the group is come to a consensus on that, except for me. I'll save my my thoughts on that until the end. Do you think she was crazy? When did you suspect she was crazy, or how do you feel about her?
Well, she is pretty crazy, and that's fine because crazy Nashitanya is pretty entertaining.
Agreed.
But I just want to say, I always had a feeling she was the seventh ever since the first episode. She just seemed too damn happy all the time. So immediately I suspected her.
So being happy means you're crazy, apparently.
It does.
So for my thoughts, did you want to continue with that, or?
It was just she was too happy all the time. Like no one is ever that happy, like every minute of their life.
She was pretty depressed when her cover was blown.
That's because her cover was blown.
She turned into some goo or something.
So
wasn't she like locked in the castle or something, like before she got out?
Yeah.
No, I would say she's kind of a more sheltered girl. So
Yeah, kind of in that sense.
Yeah. Now, for me, I wouldn't call Nasutania crazy. At least I didn't get the crazy feel from the beginning. The better word for me to explain her would be eccentric. She's very eccentric.
Eccentric.
Put a nice twist on it.
And the reason why I say that is no princess in their right mind that has been, well, it's because she's been a sheltered princess that she goes exploring the jails and anywhere that's dangerous. Because there's always that factor of curiosity, right? And so to me, I don't think I ever suspected her as the 7th in a sense, because I kind of wanted her to be not the 7th, because I kind of liked her at the beginning. It was very fresh to have a girl that was engaging towards the protagonist, and she fulfilled that role very, very well. Okay, let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum and discuss Fremi, not in the sense of waifu, but Fremi and her involvement in the story and plot, and how her character was invaluable for Aldet and the story in itself. And of course, we're gonna hit the two leads again. Aiden.
Well, she was really kind of invaluable to Adlet in that she was initially the one that was first suspected because she's the half fiend. And she was initially the brave killer up until the point she lost to the lowly Shamo.
Chamo.
Yeah, something like that.
Shamo.
But, that's why people had they had initially suspected her of being the 7th brave, but she was pretty much indispensable to Adlai because she was that suspect, and he was able to kind of like convert her to his side.
Convert.
Like she was originally trying to kill him as well. She had suspected that he was also the 7th brave, but like I said, he converted her to his side, and when she separated off from him, they kind of worked together separately.
Right. And so when they're working separately, would that be essential to the plot? Now, I'm going to hold you hostage on this, Aiden, and I'm going to have your buddy right there, Sonic, answer that question. So they're being held hostage because Fremi and Adlet are kind of mixed into this situation together.
Well, I think in Fremi's case, she is vital to Adlet in that he and her share kind of this bond. They have this tragic past, both of them having lost people that they loved, although in different ways. And for Fremi, she kind of lost her ability to trust people because all the people she cared about kicked her aside and betrayed her. Whereas for Adlet, he kind of lost everybody he cared about, but yet he still held on to hope. And it was his desire to right the wrongs and defeat the fiends that was pushing him forward. And in the same way, she had a similar motivation, but she didn't really trust people, and she wanted to do it all herself, whereas he wanted to do things as the team, as part of the Braves. Now, I think she's indispensable to helping Adlet get off the hook, and that she indirectly helps to prove that he is not the seventh.
Mm-hmm. So the relationship between Fremi and Outlet kind of are symbiotic, and one helps each other survive, whether it's subconsciously or consciously. Now, I'm going to carry this conversation throughout all the members and swing it over to Gold. Now, Fremi and Aldet's relationship, how would you view it in general? Towards each other and towards the plot.
I think it's a really good relationship. For the fact that they both provide something for each other. Okay. Basically, Fremi is a girl who out to seek revenge. She wants to be the one to defeat the demon lord herself. Adlet, world's strongest man, he's just out to, do his duties as the brave and defeat the demon lord along with the other braves. But when you get down to it, what really made Adlet may fall in love with Fremi was that he saw a lot of himself in her. Right. He saw what he used to be, and that's what really made them click. And with Fremi, I feel like Fremi just wants to. Well, she already states she wants to live. He's the one who caused her to want to live. And I feel like Fremi just wants to sort of be, sort of like Adlet, how positive he is. She kind of envies him. She really sort of envies him.
So envy, and would you say to a point of jealousy?
Well, jealousy in the sense of wow, here's somebody who kind of knows something that I went through. The fact, basically wanted revenge against something. And that's and look how he's acting. Look at how I am. The difference between them.
Super. Now, revenge is the next topic of this. BioPower.
Yeah.
Revenge. Do you think Fremi's revenge and Adlet's revenge evolved throughout the course of the show? And how did it evolve? For the better or worse? Thank you, Gold. That was very inspiring.
Adlet's revenge has always been about getting back at the Fiends for destroying basically his family and his village. Fremi is also trying to get back at the Fiends. I don't know if the revenge really changes all that much.
Really? In my case, I feel like Aldet's revenge evolved from trying to kill the Fiends to protecting Fremi because he's found someone through the revenge, right? He's gone through all this adventure, hardships, and then he sees this girl and her hair waving in the wind with all her awesomeness and flower. And he falls in love at first sight. Mm-hmm. By falling in love at first sight, because he's going out and trying to kill the Fiend and learning that she is a Fiend, how would one react to that, knowing that the things you want to kill is suddenly something you love? Sean?
Well, I'm sure at first it must have caused him to question what he was doing. His whole reason for being a brave is because he wants to get back at the Fiends. And then he finds a girl that he falls in love with, finds out that she's half a Fiend. So he has to start reevaluating his purpose now. And like you said, his revenge shifted from trying to get back at the Fiends for what they did to him to protecting Fremi from the Fiends that wronged her. And it reminds me of this one moment in the show where Fremi and Adlet were together at night when they were running away from everyone. And Adlet said he saw himself in her. And she responded by saying, "I really hate you for making me feel this way." And she started crying. And I thought that was a nice, genuine moment in the show.
Yeah, I agree.
Something genuine. All right,
that
Swagger.
word again.
Something genuine.
Yes.
This is you're gonna wrap up this topic, okay? Can you do this for me? You're gonna wrap up Rokka.
I'll try.
In this show, the relationships between Aldet and Fremi and Aldet and the rest of the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever think Aldet would ever betray friendly for the greater good of the Braves and killing demons, the Demon Lord?
Not at this point. Like they've like gone through so much together. Like they've talked about stuff, like their past, and she opened up to Adlet, and she's not the type to open up to people. She's usually like what I think the word is introverted, or like she keeps to herself. Thing is, like they're kind of like supporting characters to each other's development. So I don't think, if anything, they're going to. Or he's gonna betray Fremi for the greater good. Okay. I mean, he has to like give her a place after all this is over.
Okay. Now, SwaggerCandy, do you know how I said you were gonna wrap up Rokka and gonna be the be-all, finish-all? I lied.
It's okay.
So, there's gonna be maybe a one-liner or two for anyone to say their little final thoughts, and I'll just open up to everyone. Who wants to go first?
I'll just go. Alright. I'll just keep it short because I know people want to say something about like the extra member. But Rokka, I thought the first 3 episodes were pretty mediocre. And then after that it got really interesting with the mystery and deceit. And that's what really made me went from being okay with the show into really being a person who likes the show. Alright.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to kind of speak on for a second. A lot of people have been complaining about this show in terms of the action fantasy versus the mystery, because I feel like it's been advertised as an action fantasy the entire time when the entire season was, in fact, a mystery from the beginning episodes to the end, and who would be the 7th Brave. And people need to understand that that's basically what this is. And I want to say that this is one of the top shows of my season.
All right.
I'm gonna spoil the ending and just say, fuck the 8th Brave, fuck the cowgirl.
Chubs?
Chubs.
Yeah, Chubs.
Oh, okay.
She could be beautiful under. You never know.
Whatever. You're so shallow, man.
She was in there for like 2 minutes, and she's already trying to come between Adley and Fremi. Fuck her.
Whoa, man! This is PG-13.
That was my thought.
We're gonna keep it like that. We're gonna have to move on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I like Sean's alternate ending.
Oh, you read that?
Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed
it. Sometimes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone through a few shows. Rokka, Million Doll. What was the other show? I forget.
Jitsu Wa.
Oh yes, Jitsu Wa. Thank you. And we're going to not conclude, but we're going to move on to one of the strongest shows, I should say, of the season, because it's by brand recognition. A key anime, Charlotte. Okay? As many of you know, Key has made huge successes with Air Canon 2006, not 2002, 2006, and Kanad. I like to say Air because I like Air. So, and as the host, I could say that. No arguments allowed. I might put this down. Charlotte.
I will agree with Kami.
We're going to talk about Charlotte,
this one.
and we're going to let the two leads kind of duke it out. Gold and Sean. Charlotte.
Okay, well... Okay, Charlotte. It started out pretty decent. I remember I mentioned this before in our starting podcast, but again, he seemed interesting. Then, after all that interesting moments of him using his power, having all this fun time, they cut it halfway through. Stripped him of that, moved to a different school, new location, just have this new mission, this new goal with the student council, where you go around finding ability users who are abusing it, tell them not to use it because of the scientists, and all this other stuff. Okay. The ending. The ending was horrible. At first, halfway through the show, I thought it was a 24 episode show. Then it must have been episode 10 or 11 where I learned it was only 13 episodes. Plus an OVA. Thanks. But I really don't even know where to start. Like, they crammed things. They they're just like they're throwing things in the air and just whatever they caught, that's what they're gonna stick with. They go back into the past, they go to the future. It just, oh man, go all around the world in one episode, and we're really supposed to like just buy that and then have just try to make some nice conclusive ending, and we're really supposed to buy all that stuff. It was a mess. The show was horrible. It went from being a decent show to being a horrible show. Definitely PA Works. It's right next to Red Data Girl and Glasslet for me.
Ooh, harsh.
Alright, Sean.
Ouch.
With that comparison, Sean, what are your thoughts?
I agree. The show had potential at the start, but it just ended up being a mess. Like, that first half of the first episode was great, because you reminded me of a mini Lelouch. I just wish it was Lelouch throughout the whole season.
All hail Lelouch.
And then,
If only.
all hell Lelouch. And he's right. The ending was extremely rushed.
Okay.
The series felt like it should have been 24 episodes. And honestly, I wish the show was just you going around taking everybody's powers for like 12 episodes, being a douche while he does it. That would have been a great show.
Really?
And honestly, there was like no shock factor in the show, because I just want to say, and I think you will all agree with me, that people die when they are killed, except in key anime.
It's true.
No, well, I won't spoil.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I suppose I have to play devil's advocate right now. I wouldn't say the show is as terrible as both of you made it out to be.
Hell no.
Because the premise leading up to the conclusion, right? It wasn't some supernatural thing that they made up. While the powers they used were convenient, such as time travel, invisible shield that can block bullets, those are conveniences. They were not out of the realm of possibility to the powers of a user, right? The abilities of a user to have that power. And while I do agree it is rushed, I don't agree that it's a terrible anime, because simply for the fact that the premises leading up to its conclusion weren't something they can just all of a sudden pull out. And I think Aiden might agree with this. I don't know. Let's go with Aiden.
Yeah, I do agree, actually. I thought it really wasn't about you and him being super Lelouch badass guy. The real... I don't know. The real point of the show was...
Mm-hmm.
Shut up. Leave me alone.
I'm waiting for you here,
Liking
man.
us, Aiden.
I'll just say I enjoyed the show. I don't care if it was a mess. Although I will say I actually originally thought it was supposed to end at episode 12, and okay. I think that probably would have been a good place to end it.
Mm-hmm.
You might actually be right about that.
Yeah. No, I think I would agree with that too.
Likewise.
I will also say that I did not mind episode 13.
Ooh.
The only part I did mind was the Big Brother flying in on a police helicopter in the middle of Australia when he somehow miraculously found them to pull.
They were in Beijing.
They were in China. I think they're in China.
They're in China.
I thought that was Australia.
No. The last one was China.
China.
Yeah, the girl courage was yes, from China.
Her power was courage.
Yeah.
But
hey,
I am actually glad that it was not 2 cores long. I think it pretty much told what it needed to, and it ended it just fine.
Nah,
that's my view.
If it was 2 cores, it would be a lot better. They would have definitely explored the scientist plot and all this. They would have had time to do all that stuff. It would have been good. It would have been good with 2 cores.
the pacing on this show was just a mess in general. Yeah, it was insane. Breakneck.
Sonic, do you have anything to add to this?
I'd say the first episode really grabbed me with all of his misadventures and schemes. And then, like, the next couple episodes, I was kind of let down because then he was having to subdue himself to fit in with the new school and the regulations and all that. But I would say somewhere around the middle, it started to get interesting again when you start to learn more about the other users and what's going on, and how the timeline and everything isn't necessarily what you might think it is to begin with. The ending was definitely rushed and messy, but still was pretty entertaining, and it was interesting to see like the different powers and the different groups and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, let me say one thing. I just want to get off that whole you super badass, go around taking powers or use his powers thing. Alright. I understand when people say that the whole future plot, it wasn't pulled out of the air. I understand that, and I agree with that, because even in the promo pictures, it was shown two figures in a lab of some sort. So that was a hint to what was to come. I understand that, but it was how they put it out and showed us. It was him going back, like, just like different, just this different timeline with Ayumi still being alive, and then learning this is the truth, how the whole world was changed, and how they have to go back to save Ayumi. It was just how it was shown, it was just so bad. It really reminded me of like some samurai flamenco thing where it just did one thing into another thing and just kept getting more and more insane.
Not in a good way.
And not in a good way.
That was hilarious.
Well, here's the thing though. Time traveling back and being the only one having this reoccurring knowledge of the events to come and what has transpired, I do not believe that's a reason to say it's terrible in that sense, or
I'm not saying that's
because
it's terrible.
It still just makes sense. It still makes sense because he's the only one who knows all this, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing I'll agree with that I didn't like about the time travel part is it undid a lot of like what happened.
But isn't that the whole premise of time travel? Is to undo things?
No, it undid development with fuck you guys. It undid like the development that happened in the span of a few episodes, like between you and Now, and what happened with Now's brother as well.
But that's the myopic view, right? In that sense, because they're part of the same line that if you and Now have a development, okay, they have this development, and they rewind that, okay, but what if you were to say that's not what you're supposed to look at? You're supposed to look at this grander scheme that you is supposed to go back in time, relive everything, and save the ability users. Isn't that what the show's about?
Well, he could have still saved the ability users without going back in time. Is this the only person that wouldn't have been saved would have been Ayumi?
Yeah.
Okay, and so is that the only part you didn't like? Is because they undid the development
pretty
between
much, yeah.
him and Now?
They just undid the development that happened.
Mm. Anyone else agree with that? Disagree with that?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think my favorite part of the series was the breakdown after he loses his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And just that whole episode where he's struggling to come to terms, and he's losing it, and he's losing his humanity, and how he comes to the like razor thin edge of just going off the deep end,
Right.
and then seeing his friend, pull him out of that and kind of show him like you still have a reason to live. I thought that I thought that was a pretty powerful episode, and then like Aiden was saying, it kind of gets somewhat undermined by the fact that well now we can just time travel, and it's like she was never even dead in the first place, and everything will be all fine.
But the thing is, he still retains all the memory of her being dead.
Oh
and
yeah, absolutely.
There's that one episode where Ayumi is hugging him, and he's like, "I don't care if anyone calls me a sister complex," right?
Yeah.
So he never lost any of that. He never lost it.
What about her?
Who?
Ayumi.
By her. What happened to Ayumi?
I'm trying to say, like, she doesn't
remember any of that.
Yeah.
How can she remember if she died in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, she doesn't know the reason behind all this. She's like, basically, she's left in the dark about everything.
I wouldn't say that she's left in the dark completely. I mean, her brother came out to save her from that other crazy girl.
But she doesn't know
the razor blade.
That's what I'm trying to say. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know
well,
why
it doesn't necessarily mean she has to know why, right?
She probably just accepts that.
Yeah, I know. It's obviously just accepts it. This kind of character she is, but
I mean, so what are the reasons why she has to know why he jumped back in time to save her?
I never said she has to. I'm just saying she is left. It's not just her. It's, basically, almost everybody just left out of the dark, left in the dark about everything, except for
right. And so
now.
what makes that, like, is that bad or good?
I'm not saying
Just
it's bad or good. I'm just pointing a fact out. That's just a fact.
I know that, but it seems to me that you have an issue with it because people are being left out.
I'm just stating that they are left out. I'm not saying whether it's a good or bad thing.
Okay, that's fine.
Mr.
I'm just trying to get it clear. Yes.
May I bring a question up with the rest of the podcast?
You can certainly bring a question up to the rest of the podcast.
So polite.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last episode, we know you pretty much has every power in the world.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
do you think he chose not to heal his eye and travel back in time and save everyone else that died? Like poor Pooh.
Oh, Pooh.
Don't fuck with time.
So
That's why.
Oh, Pooh.
You have to get to the OVA, the fan service OVA. Let's work.
Yeah, the Hot Springs episode.
Beach?
Oh, okay.
I would
Definitely
say
Beach.
that when you gather so much powers and you become omnipotent, you question yourself on why you are the one who became like that. And you leave reminders for yourself, such as the scar and the death of your friend, to keep in place why you got these powers and why you shouldn't use these power for evil or some certain deed that shouldn't be in place.
I can tell how hard it is to defend this show. It is a chore.
He tried.
I think he came to the revelation people die when they are killed.
I'm telling you, he just had to get that OVA.
Until they come back
That's
in
the only
time.
reason.
But
There was
seriously,
nothing stopping him.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably somewhat scared of going back and ruining what he did have left, and basically taking the bird in the hand there.
Well, one of the big
think
one of the big things was when he immediately when he jumped back in time, people already knew that he'd like jump back in time. So I think he probably was worried about that. And then at the time, he was like going insane anyways from all the powers and the stress he put on him.
Here's a question that goes up: if his ability is to take powers away, and he took the power to jump time from his brother, and he jumped time, he still retained his eye powers to jump time. Would it be unfeasible to say that if he were to jump time again, he would retain all the powers that he took during that, and he would still remain like crazy at the end?
Oh man, we're going into some crazy time shit now.
It's too complex.
Yeah.
It's
then they still
conjecture.
Well, they'd still all have their powers again then, and he'd have all their powers. And
I don't think he would have the powers, would he?
If they all have their powers,
I think he would have them.
His brother would have his powers again, but his
And the
brother
El
doesn't.
Sai Kanguru is strong.
They both have them.
Yeah, they might both have them.
This is
Gotta love time travel.
Well, I mean, if he goes back in time, wouldn't it be a paradox if he keeps...
All right. Wow.
All right. We have one more show to talk about, and that is the Moe Zombie show of this season. Last season, excuse me. School Live. Gakkou Gurashi. And I do not think... Let's see. Who do I want to be as the leads? Let's go with SwaggerCandy.
All right.
And Sonic.
I'll start. I like the show. I mean, I guess you could say I have a zombie bias, so I guess that factors in to that. And I really like the juxtaposition it creates between like the moe-ness and the zombie-ness. It's like very evident. But the thing I have a problem with is like the slice of life versus like the drama aspect of it. Because the slice of life seemed more as like filler type for the episodes. It just didn't seem relevant. Like we could have done without it and just got on with the drama. However, like the slice of life, like it does make sense because you know how Yuki is like kind of like their anchor to reality. But it's just I felt like it was irrelevant most of the time, especially with Taro Maru and like the dog just running around and them chasing it. But yeah. And also, I feel like a lot of people were expecting horror from this, but it was more like drama than horror. Because yeah. But if you're looking for horror, you're not gonna find it in this show. But if you're looking for some good drama, I think it's good. I really liked it.
Okay. Sonic, what are your thoughts?
I will preface by saying I am only about halfway through the series. I was actually spoiled somewhat on the later developments via the
I'm sorry, Sonic.
avatar of our other guest here, ShawnHacaga. Anyway, well, I think it's kind of an odd pairing to have the sort of cute girls doing cute things with the darker element of the zombies and the apocalypse type stuff. But in this case, I do think it works from a psychological aspect. Especially in the first episode, it seems like it's just going to be, oh, this happy-go-lucky, yay, cute girls doing cute things in the school, and then all of a sudden at the end, you're faced with this despair, and like you're wondering what's going on with this one girl that doesn't seem to realize what's happening around her.
Well, the opening does open up with corpse this, corpse that, corpse. I'm not sure how that's happy-go-lucky in a sense.
But I mean, the episode itself is like...
But that's something for someone who knows Japanese or something. And not for someone who relies on subtitles. Let this be known that companies should subtitle their opening and endings.
Seriously.
Right. I believe one of our guests here is afraid of zombies.
Yeah.
Very afraid of zombies.
I wonder who.
And if that person could speak up, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. just put a bullet in me there.
Poor bio. Poor bio.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a I don't know, a phobia, I guess. Something that just, yeah. Anyways, I think part of the charm of the show is the contrast. Unlike Gold and Swagger, I think the contrast between the moe and all the horror. You guys don't think it's horror, of course, but the zombies attacks basically, because it gives you that kind of peaceful moment that you can that you really cling to because you know something horrible is just about to happen. And I'd say another show, and people will probably get mad at me for this, Higurashi also does this a lot with bringing in this cute scene or something right before something really horrific is about to happen. It's all about that contrast. No? Please, Gold.
Want me to like start from the beginning, or
please, just wherever.
Alright,
Just wherever.
This is a throwdown.
Gakkou Gurashi, just what I said before. That contrast just never worked. In the end, it just never worked. And it's the point. Like I can acknowledge that the show has some good points, but I don't want to like the show. I really just don't want to like it. Alright, the only episode to me that was actually like good was the first one, just because of how impacting it was. How for the whole show, whole episode, while they threw in hints here and there, the whole episode was just normal / life cutesy moments. Then at the end, they just showed that horrific scene, and just a smiling girl in the middle of it, like she can't see what's going on around her. From then on, it went to these pointless episodes with no progression, just run around chasing a dog, getting canned whatever food. Just
wait, isn't getting canned food part of zombie survival?
Okay. Yeah, and the canned food is and them just contemplating like how the importance of eating this certain brand of canned food. Totally important. But anyway, moving on. But those pointless episodes would be fine if it was entertaining. For the most part, it reminded me of Yuki Yuna because it was just kind of boring and dry.
Okay.
And obviously, Red Garden is one of my favorite anime. Even though those creatures inside that show weren't zombies per se, they were zombie-like. I am a huge lover of horror, so that show is great to me. Seeing something like this show, having these zombies quote unquote, it's no. And to compare it to Higurashi, no. They don't do cutesy moments right before the horror scenes. They don't. I really don't understand where you got that from. They do cutesy moments like in the episode.
At the beginning of the episode.
Okay, that's what you should have said. But you said right before. I'm like, what? So right before Rika does her, right before Shion does her stuff. Like, no.
We can't get into that.
Yeah, I don't want to like spoil it or go into
No,
it.
No, I know.
Yeah, but no.
I mean, weren't they gonna have tea that one time though?
Watch Higurashi, everyone.
But yeah, if you want to see something with cute moments, it has a great contract that knows how to pull it off well. Higurashi. Gakkou Gurashi is a poor man's Higurashi in every aspect.
I will say it is definitely inferior to Higurashi, definitely.
Still enjoyable.
Yes. Well, did the censoring kill you too?
In what?
In Gakkou Gurashi.
I mean,
with the zombies.
Not really.
No? Okay.
Well, I would say it's pretty unique for censoring, right?
This dark aura around everything?
These dark auras. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. It was unique.
Did that take away from the horror? If there was...
It was no horror, it was just drama.
Okay.
It was more like a character study, I guess. In a way.
Alright.
Character study? What do you mean by that, character study?
He's right.
It usually happens like in every zombie apocalypse, like they'll do the outbreak, and then as time goes on, like they'll focus more on the characters and like how they've changed and how like the situation affects each person individually. So it's just like kind of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If that's the case, and the show is a drama and not a horror, what could you have added to this show that would have made it a horror?
Horrific
more
scenes.
zombies.
I would actually say it's
no more zombies.
Make it more serious. How about that?
Yeah,
take out more
it would have
filler.
to be like more serious. There would have to be more situations where they would get into like, or where they would run into zombies and
Exactly.
stuff.
There's something zombies walk up to him.
What
They,
about
they,
It's just
they,
that
they could literally be
they-
standing right next to the zombie, and the zombie would not attack him. That's how I feel sometimes. Like, it's so convenient. It is so convenient.
Yeah, the thing is, they're like really barricaded up, so the zombies aren't like wandering around like where they are.
The zombies were right next to the characters sometimes, and
Well-
they wouldn't just jump and like attack them. They would just slowly walk up, slowly. Oh, I hear a sound. Let me follow the sound. The show was just whatever. I don't know. Not for me.
Well, at the end,
Yeah,
I would say there is a lot of, I don't know if you want to call it drama sort of stuff at the end where the zombies were everywhere on them, basically.
it'd be more like intensity, I would say.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So, more intensity, more zombies everywhere. However, it feels like convenience in a zombie flick, in any zombie flick, is really just. It doesn't even have to be a zombie flick. Being convenient in certain moments, I wouldn't say detracts from it being a horror, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because if your characters all of a sudden die, then they're not a main character anymore. Not to say that main characters shouldn't die,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Main characters can and should die for the better of the series.
To be immortalized.
Hey, there were two main characters that died in Gakkou Gurashi.
Oh. Rest in peace, Sean.
How's it going, guys?
Anyways,
No, someone cast Raise on Sean. Remember?
Oh.
He's not a zombie anymore.
so
I am
I
not.
wouldn't necessarily say that Gakkou Gurashi isn't a horror. It just might not be as
Like-
horrifying as it could be, is what I would say.
Yeah.
I see.
Anyone have any final thoughts on the show?
Yeah, SwaggerCandy.
Oh, Chigarashi.
Yeah, they watch Higurashi.
That's all I
Redo
have to say.
Mineko.
SwaggerCandy.
I enjoyed
I would
it.
like to
I don't
add
care what
something.
I
anyone
will
says.
point out I had some good moments, but just watch Higurashi. If you've already seen Higurashi, watch it again.
Go to Umineko.
Watch the
I don't know.
OVAs.
Higurashi kind of is very long though. Right?
Watch the OVAs.
Worth it. Worth it.
Gakkou a poor man's Higurashi, Ray, whatever the dancer was from.
I still enjoyed Gakkou Gurashi though.
It was
Well-
an interesting show. I want to point out that it had a great OST, by the way.
Yeah,
It
Show.
was good.
Gakkou Gurashi.
Gurashi or Higurashi?
We had it for the opening for one of them.
Gakkou Gurashi,
One of our
like the
podcasts.
certain tracks they played during certain scenes, like really added to the mood.
I would definitely
Like-
agree with that.
And
Yeah.
in that mood, was it a horror mood, drama mood, romance?
No.
More
I
like
think-
drama.
Romance.
It's more drama.
More
Drama. It's-
like drama and sad moments.
Hey, I will interject Yuri in any show if it's appropriate. That's my
Yeah,
prerogative.
this show is really just Kurumi's harem.
Kurumi.
Shovel
You know,
Kun's harem.
I mean, she has Shovel Kun, okay?
Yeah.
She don't need no hair.
One last
Show us
thing.
something.
Megane was the best character, whether she was alive, dead, zombie, ghost, or a figment of your imagination.
Or just the head.
I think you're biased,
too.
Sean.
Well, you guys did nickname me Megane, so you guys pretty much knew that was coming.
Well, it's not our fault you died during an episode.
You disappeared in the first cast.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
All right.
that is a.
We're going out, shot.
That is all the shows that we are able to talk about today for the fourth podcast of Usagi
Okay.
Cast. UsagiRoll? Usagi Cast. Oh man, I need to.
Usagi
Usagi
Roll
Roll.
podcast.
Soggy roll.
I'm gonna get fired for this. However, I will
If you weren't
still
the
probably be
host.
host on the fifth one. Just. And so we've talked about a few shows this evening: Charlotte, Gakkou Gurashi, Rokka, Million Doll, and Jitsu Wa Watashi Wa.
Mhm.
And I will just leave it to the guests here and have their little saying at the end, an outro, if you will. We'll start with the oldest. No, yeah, we'll start with the oldest. Aiden.
Are you being ageist?
No, I'm being
Ageist.
wise and giving the person who has the most experience watching anime to go first.
Ooh,
All right.
well put.
Wait, that's me, but we'll just
All right. So I'll just say, Aoharu X Kikanju was shit. We'll watch Fate Collade.
Sipagir, dude.
And Gatchaman Crowd's Insight was probably one of the most brilliant anime of the season.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I
so
agree.
can't say anything.
I haven't watched Gatchaman yet, so maybe.
Everyone should watch that one.
A lot of people
Okay.
told me.
I don't know which one's older, Sean or Sonic. So I guess they can decide among themselves.
Go ahead, Sonic. I want to be younger.
I guess I'll say some of my favorites from the summer were Overlord, Monster Musume, and Dirty Jokes. Probably because I just like, funny shows and ones that don't take things that seriously and just unwind to.
Sean, you can't escape it forever. Gotta grow up sometime.
So if you guys want to watch a thought-provoking anime, do yourself a favor and watch Gatchaman Crowd's Insight. Other than that, the anime of the season was actually Pillow Boys.
Here we go.
No, here we go.
And right after it,
Boys.
Bikini Warriors.
Okay, Bikini Warriors wasn't that bad.
We could, we could go to Bikini Warriors.
If you wanna,
No,
Sean.
see why Pillow Boys was anime of the season, you can go ahead and go to cafeeng.blogspot.com. Yes, I am self-promoting right now.
Whoa. Whoa.
There we go.
Note to self, we're gonna cut this from post-production. You guys catch that? Okay, great. Bio, go ahead.
I'm the youngest.
You're not.
I'm the youngest.
Oh, that's right. Swagger's the youngest. I'd like to say Symphogear GX was probably my favorite of the season, just in terms of fun level. And Rokka and Akagami, red hair, Snowhead with the red hair. And then, if you want a refreshing anime, just watch Castletown Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Wasn't it Dandy Ryan?
Dandelion.
Yeah, it's Dandelion.
Dandelion, like the flower.
No, it's
Dandelion.
I'm gonna call it Dandelion forever.
It's for another podcast, guys.
That's for a different podcast. Gold, go ahead.
Alright, two of my favorites, well, they were both in my top three that we didn't talk about. Prison School. It wasn't just a comedy, I felt like the planning behind it, even the drama, it was just really, really well done. And, well, we were talking about Rokka, that was my second. And third, rounding up the top three, would be Himoto. A very cute, funny, definitely the most relaxing show to watch this season for me. But, yes, people don't like Amadu, but I think he's fine.
No.
Okay.
Swagger, I think you're the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my top anime for the season was Prison School. And going down the list, number 2 would be Gakkou Gurashi. We just talked about that. And my third would actually be Jokomachi no Dandelion. So,
Dandelion.
yeah, I thought this... Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I thought this season was pretty strong, though, in my opinion.
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah, I think this season was pretty strong.
It was pretty good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have been your host, AnimeKami. You can find me on Crunchyroll /AnimeKami. Capitalize A and the K, please. You can find this cast on YouTube /UsagiRoll Pod, and on Twitter, UsagiRoll, I believe. And on...
No, Twitter is at UsagiRoll Pod.
Yes, at UsagiRoll Pod. Thank you, Aiden. So wise. So wise. And there would be one more place to find us. It is...
SoundCloud.com/UsagiRoll.
Yes. Man, he should have my job.
I should.
But he doesn't.
What are you here for again?
What are you here for?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm here for? I'm here to tell you the exquisiteness of my tastes and the favorite anime of the season.
Ooh.
Favorite anime of the season for me, now, it has to be Bikini Warriors. Now,
It's a good choice.
it's an excellent choice. It's an exquisite choice.
Oh no.
Those RPG parodies, though.
So, I'll just leave it at that and let you guys have your wild conjectures on why that's my favorite. And maybe I'll tell you next time.
It's not a space opera.
For now, we're going to sign out and leave it as that. Goodbye.
So, guys.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Peace.
Adios.